In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a frozen icy tundra base for your miniatures. Let's get started. The first step in making these bases is to sculpt the rocky texture that will catch the snow later on. To do so, I take epoxy sculpt and mix up a small amount. Epoxy sculpt is a two-part epoxy putty, much like green stuff, but it dries far harder and is a little bit cheaper. I spread a thin layer of this epoxy sculpt over the entire base, and then texture it by gently pressing in a piece of torn up cork. The texture created here might seem a little bit extreme, but you want to get a pretty rough texture as it will trap the snow effects we do later on. Once I'm happy with the texture here, I press some pieces of cork into the base to represent rocks and leave them there. I then trim off any excess epoxy sculpt that's hanging off the edge of the base. Epoxy sculpt takes a little while to dry, so I leave the base to dry overnight and come back to the next day. For painting the base, I start by priming it black and then layer on petroleum gray from scale 75. This is a very dark brown gray color, but you can use any dark gray you want here. I then dry brush the base with scale 75 rainy gray and Nakar. Again, the specific colors don't really matter too much, but in effect I'm using a medium brownish gray and a very pale tan color here. For the snow, I use Tamiya Diorama Texture Snow Effect. This is very similar to Valhalla and Blizzard from Games Workshop, but far cheaper, and I find it works just a little bit better. I smear the snow texture all over the base with a flat metal tool and then scrape off the majority of the snow. This is where the deep pockets of texture we sculpted before come in handy, is when I scrape off the snow effect, some gets left behind in those nooks and crannies, while letting the gray paint show through the rest of the base. This helps us sell the effect of a barren, wind-blown, snow-drenched rocky wasteland. Once the snow effect dries, all that's left is to paint the rim of the base black and attach your model to it. Also, because the ground texture is not perfectly flat, it is possible that your mini's feet will not sit flush with the base. If this happens and bothers you, you can always take some more of your snow effect and use it to fill in the gaps. You can also gently dab some of the snow effect on your model's legs and other parts of the model that might touch the base to represent snow clinging to your model. And with that, the base is done. Hopefully this tutorial gave you some ideas for your army's next basing scheme. And if so, please let me know what you're planning on doing in the comments below. Also, it'd be kind of cool if you could subscribe to my channel, as it helps YouTube know that my content's worth watching, and it helps me stay motivated to keep making these videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll be on.